Hello, Quinn Donovan here. Welcome to QTV 8888, where I share my truth and vulnerability. And today we are on Get to Know Quinn Hour. And what we're going to be, not we, but me, what I'll be talking about today is practices to peace. What are some of the practices, some of the things that I've experienced and dove deep into to find peace within myself, to find peace within my past, to find peace just in general so that I could live a happy, peaceful life. So let me just start off by saying I have always been a pretty easygoing person, pretty chill, pretty laid back, always there to support people, always there to help out wherever I can. I'm pretty easy to talk to, but I had a very short fuse. So if you've watched any of the previous videos in Get to Know Quinn Hour, you watched the backstory, some of the other videos, you would know that I had a lot of trauma to experience growing up, which who doesn't have trauma? If no one has trauma, I'll be like, what's wrong with you, right? But so growing up, there was a lot of anger within my household, within my upbringing, within my family, and we did not know how to resolve that anger. We didn't have any tools or anything to transmute that energy. Of course, this was back in the 80s and 90s, and none of that stuff was really a thing. And if it was, you were like a witch, or you were some woo-woo person or something, I don't know what it was. But we did not have anything to help us to let go of that anger, or how to work through it, or how to express our emotions in a healthy way. So a lot of times that stuff just got pushed down further and further and further. And at one point it was like I was a ticking time bomb. I mean, my fuse was about this short. So any little mishap or any comment or something was like almost a disaster, because I would just blow up. But I didn't have any other way. I didn't know how to express my anger. And so I just shoved it and shoved it and shoved it. And when it got so bad, I would blow up, or I'd just yell, or I'd freak out. And I did not want to continue living my life that way. I did not want to continue holding on to this anger, to holding on to this pain from my childhood, or from any lifetime for that matter. Me and my daughter's dad had broken up. That was probably the tip of my iceberg, and it landed me in jail for 2 days. And so after that, I was just like, oh my God, I need to be a better person. I need to figure out my shit. I need to work through my traumas, because I surely do not want my daughter growing up in an environment that I grew up in and her not know how to express her emotions or work through any unpleasant, hurtful anger situations. I want her to be able to know how to do that, what some tools are that she can use. And, ever since I started diving deep into my own healing, I've discovered or learned about all these different techniques and these different tools to use to find peace. And the biggest thing in finding peace, especially for myself, was forgiveness. Was finding forgiveness in my father abandoning me at 6 months old, forgiving him. Forgiving my mother for getting into another relationship or another marriage with someone who was abusive. And, she says that he wasn't always like that, but his alcoholism had become so bad that that's what it was. And he was an angry kid too. He had trauma from his childhood, and my mom had trauma from her childhood. I don't know necessarily what that was, but she never talked about it. That was the thing. Like, we didn't talk about our emotions. We didn't I mean, the one thing was to go to therapy, and we were teenagers, so none of us wanted to go to therapy. It was just bullshit, basically. And so I had to learn. And it's interesting because my mom is the one who has brought these different techniques or these different tools into my life for me to experiment with and really find that peace and forgive those that have hurt me and whom I have hurt in that same process. So I want to just talk to you about some things that I have learned and have kept practicing, because you're not just gonna one day wake up and be at peace and then, your whole life is just rainbows and butterflies. It's a constant practice. And really, as deep as these wounds and these traumas go, it takes time, it takes consistency, and it takes practice to continue bringing peace into your life, to continue forgiving those who have hurt you, or forgiving yourself. That was one of the biggest things for me, because it was like I was blaming everybody else of why I had these problems. Not that I was a narcissist or anything, but it was like I blamed my mother for the anger. I blamed my father for the abuse. I blamed my father for the abandonment, or why nobody would stick around, and then I felt like I was the problem, or nobody wanted me in that sense. And so I had to find forgiveness within them and within myself. And I'll just tell you, forgiveness isn't about the other person. Forgiveness is for you so that you can release those emotions that are trapped, so you can find peace. And it's not excusing anyone's behavior, but it's more of saying, you know what? I accept that happened. I don't need to continue holding on to this pain and the suffering and the anger and the hurt. I can find peace in it. And if doing forgiveness, practicing forgiveness is one of the things I could do to find peace within myself and live a happier life and not carry all of these traumas up or get triggered or blow up on somebody when somebody says something, right? So the first thing that I really started, and my mom, I just want to give her so much credit for this, because I don't think I would have come to these conclusions, or I don't know that I would have been guided to these different tools and techniques if it hadn't been for her. And I think it's because she was doing her own healing. And so she saw how beneficial it was to her and her healing, that she knew I needed healing. She knew that I needed forgiveness. She knew that I needed these practices to be happy and for her and I to have a better relationship. So one of the first things that I really started diving deep into was a forgiveness practice called Ho'oponopono. And it is a Hawaiian forgiveness practice. It comes from Hawaii. You can go Google it. In my description, I will put some links in there where you can go and learn more about the practice, the history of it, and I'll also include a little meditation that I had started doing in the beginning of my healing journey. And so what Ho'oponopono is, it's about forgiving the person and asking for forgiveness and apologizing and saying, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for whatever it is. I'm sorry. In my case, it'd be like, I'm sorry for being a horrible teenager. I'm sorry for saying those horrible things to you. Please forgive me. You're asking them for forgiveness, not that you have to go and say this directly to someone, but it could also be to yourself too. You can look yourself in the mirror and be like, I'm sorry that I didn't tend to your needs, or I'm sorry that I didn't, or I'm sorry for neglecting you or not taking care of you or hearing you or seeing you or whatever the case may be. Okay. So it's like, I'm sorry. And then please forgive me. So you're asking for forgiveness. And then it's like, thank you. Thank you for forgiving me. I love you. And even as I say that right now, myself is like, I do forgive you. I forgive you for all of that. And ultimately, that's really what it's coming down to, is the forgiveness within yourself. It may be for other people, or towards other people, and you can do that to anyone or anything, even your pets. Like with my dog, I do ho'oponopono on her, and I'm like, I'm sorry that I didn't make time to take you for a walk. I know that you need your exercise, and I've neglected to give you that. Please forgive me. And when I'm doing this practice and I ask, please forgive me, I hear myself. I hear my little mini Quinn, my little Quinny inside saying, I forgive you. And then it's like a relief, like a weight just lifts off of me. The guilt and the shame that we hung on to, or the pain or the trauma that we hung on to in those instances where we hurt someone, just dissipates. Like it just goes away. Like it falls right off. It transmutes. And then you say, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for forgiving me. I'm so grateful for your forgiveness. And then you say, I love you. I love you. And you do that over and over and over again. Anytime you're feeling hurt by someone, or a trigger comes up and it brings up an old memory or a trauma, go through the ho'oponopono practice, because that saved my life. That released so much anger that I was holding on to towards my mom, towards my stepdad, towards my father, towards my brothers, towards my daughter's dad, and any other friends who have hurt me. And I mean, it just releases so much. So I encourage you to start practicing ho'oponopono to start the forgiveness process. Because if you don't forgive, you don't accept and forgive, those emotions will continue to stay within your body. They will continue to trigger you. They will continue to bring up those horrible traumatic experiences, and you won't ever find peace. You won't ever find peace. So forgiveness is the number one thing to start practicing on your healing journey. And it's not always easy, I'll tell you that, especially the deeper the wounds, the harder the forgiveness. Okay, so trust me when I say this is a continued practice that you keep doing over and over and over again until there's no charge to that energy anymore. Okay. So that's one practice. Another practice that I started doing, and I mean, thank you to my mom. She had introduced me to chakras. Yes, I didn't always know what chakras were. I was one of those people that didn't know that, and I didn't understand what they were. But the more that I started diving deeper and learning about what our chakra system is, which is, we have at least 18 chakras. At least. There's a whole lot more, but I'm not going to go into there. But the most common ones are 7. And it's the root, the sacral, the solar plexus, the heart, the throat, the third eye, and the crown. And then, of course, they go above. They go beyond our human form here. So I just dove deep into learning all about my chakras, because what I learned was that all the energies and the pain and the hurt and the beliefs and the thoughts of what we believe to be true are held in the chakras. So for instance, our root chakra, if that chakra is not aligned, if that chakra is blocked and it is not aligned and it is so dense in energy, that's where our security is. That's where our safety is. That's where we hold what we believe to be true. That's what grounds us into the earth. And if those connections in that chakra center is not balanced and aligned and cleared, we don't feel safe. We don't feel secure. Our financial well-being is in that chakra. So if that chakra is not balanced and complete or aligned, it can't flow the energy up, because we're constantly in this cycle of going up and down, up and down, up and down, ascending and descending in our energy field. And so if the root chakra is not cleansed and cleared, then none of the other chakras can get the energy, can get the flow, can get the free flow of that energy. So I am like a big chakra person. I mean, I've read books, I've taken classes, I've gotten certified in chakra stuff because I wanted to clear my chakras. I wanted to open those centers. I wanted to clear out all the gunk and the crap and everything that was held in there to bring more peace to my life, to feel better in my body. Because if you understand, energy is trapped in our bodies. That's what we are. We're energy. So if these centers are not cleansed, cleared, and balanced and aligned, they can actually form into physical discomfort. They can form into diseases and cancers. And it's because we're, one, unaware that we have chakras, right? And two, it's because we're not doing anything to clear them out. So once you start to understand what the chakra system is and what they do and how they operate, I mean, that's what operates our body. That's what functions our body. And if these centers are not free to flow freely, then they can form into our physical body of pain and discomfort and disease and cancer, like I said. So I highly encourage you to go and learn about your chakras. And on my YouTube channel, I have 7 minutes of 7 chakras, and I give you just a little bit of a snippet of what each of those centers are, what they do. They're associated, like you can cleanse them with foods, with colors, with sound, with anything, not anything, but go watch the videos because you'll learn something in 7 minutes about your chakras. Pinterest is my favorite place to go to get chakra stuff. You can go Google chakra systems. There's courses that you can go and take to start understanding your chakra system and understanding how it operates you and how you can get it cleansed and cleared. And that, I feel, for me was a huge lifesaver because I had a lot of blocked chakras. And once I started cleansing and clearing and balancing them and aligning them, the energy started flowing freely, and I began to feel my own safety, creating my own safety. I began to feel secure within myself and in my life. I began to tap into my power and get in touch with my sacred feminine energies and live from the heart and speak my truth and see clear visions, see clearly of what it is that I want to manifest in my life and be connected to source and getting that source energy. So I highly encourage you to go watch those 7 minutes of the chakras. At some point there'll be something that I dive deeper into, but that was one of the biggest things that I did. And also, you can activate and cleanse and clear these chakras as well with hand mudras. There's hand mudras that you can do. There's yoga practices that you can do. One of the things that I'll just say with the yoga, right here, our thyroids are here. This is also our throat chakra. So it was hard for me to express myself in a healthy way about what I was feeling to, transmute the energies or clear them out. So at one point, my thyroid started having a problem. And so I got blood work done, and, the lady calls and she's like, yeah, you kind of have like a hyperactive thyroid because, there's a few things that can go wrong in that area or be impacted. And I was like, so what's the remedy for that? And they're like, oh, well, we'll put you on thyroid medicine. I'm like, or medication. I'm like, oh, hell no. Hell to the fucking no. I will not be getting on any thyroid medication. And then I'd have to be taking that my whole entire life? Like, no. So there is actually a yoga practice that stimulates the thyroid. And as I was doing those yoga practices and opening up that chakra and clearing the energies out, the thyroid issue went away. Like, it went away. So the next time I got blood work done, there wasn't even an issue. So it's so important because when you are clearing out these chakras, you're healing yourself on your own. You don't need to go to the doctor and get all these medications for these problems that you're having. The problems that you're having is because your chakras are blocked. The energy can't flow freely through you. So it's causing all of these physical problems. So I encourage you to go and learn about your chakras. There's books out there, there's trainings, there's videos, there is so much. And you can go start by watching my chakra videos, and they're only 7 minutes long because it was seven minutes for 7 chakras. And it's just a little bit of what you could learn about them, but then diving deeper. So I made it a practice to cleanse, clear, and transmute the energies in my chakras. So that's another practice that you can do, because once you start clearing that out, the energy has then the ability to move freely through each of the chakras. Because if you think about it, it's like one of those little waterfall things that go down. So it's like it fills, and then it fills, like, I don't know what I'm trying to say there, but if you get the gist, you'll get it. But it's like the one chakra needs to be cleared for the energy to go to the next one, and then to the next one, and to the next one. So I highly encourage you to start learning about your chakras, because I am just so amazed about how many people don't know that they have a chakra system, and that is what's powering your body. So if these chakra systems, if these centers were continued to be blocked, at some point your body's not going to be able to function. And it's not just organs, because every chakra affects different body parts, different organs. So once you start learning more about that, you're going to be amazed at what you discover. And if you start implementing these into your daily practices, you will start noticing a difference within yourself. So I highly encourage that you go and learn about your chakra system. And then from that led into yoga. I mean, I'm not saying go do yoga, because yoga isn't for everybody, but yoga is about stretching. It's about moving the energies in your body. So if you just stay sitting all day long and don't do anything, your body can't function properly. Like, it will become so stiff that you can't move those trapped energies out of your body. And it's just stretching. You don't need to be fit. You don't need to be skinny. You don't need to be anything other than willing to give it a try. That's all you need. You be willing, and you'll be amazed at how much better your body would feel when you start doing yoga. Or just stretching. It doesn't even have to be yoga per se. You don't have to go through a whole routine, but there's different yoga practices. There's different poses that coincide with different chakras. So you can do these different yoga practices that are in association with all the chakras, the different chakras, and you can start clearing those centers out and clearing that energy out that way too. Plus, your body's getting movement. Our body needs to move. It needs to move. And so when I started doing yoga, I never looked back. Like, my physical fitness started, initially I was an athlete. I played basketball and volleyball in junior high and high school. And then, it led to other activities. Like, I love rollerblading or riding a bike or going for a walk or, just getting out there and being active. Plus, a lot of people in my family are overweight, and I see how unhappy and dissatisfied they are with themselves, and they are like emotional eaters. And I was always like, I don't want to be like that. I do not want to eat my emotions. And be like, when I got pregnant, I mean, I think at the end of my pregnancy, I was 160 pounds. And before my pregnancy, I was 120 pounds. So 40 pounds of weight, even though, I mean, my daughter was like 7 pounds when she was born. And so it was like only like 7 pounds of that was a kid. And it took me a very long time to release that. And I honestly didn't really like being pregnant. I didn't. I mean, it was interesting to have something growing in me, but just the weight that I had to carry was very hard for me. So I did all that I could to release that weight. And I like to say it's like, oh, well, it's taken me, 17 years to get my body to where it's at now from pregnancy. So yeah, even though I'm not carrying baby weight anymore, but I like to just say that, and it's funny. But once I started yoga, I never looked back, because my initial workout routine was with Jillian Michaels. And so she was kicking my ass every day because I wanted to be fit. I wanted to stay skinny. I wanted to lose the baby fat, lose all of that weight that I had gained during pregnancy. And so I started with Jillian Michaels, and my mom was like, here, it started with the thyroid. It started with the thyroid, where she's like, well, here are these yoga practices that you can do for that to remedy that. And so I started doing that. And then next thing you know, I was doing yoga every day. And I never went back to Jillian Michaels again. Like, never. So I mean, I'll be honest, there are days that I go without yoga, but my body feels it. My body feels it when I don't do a yoga practice. Like, I didn't do one today, I didn't do one yesterday, or the day before that. So I think it's been about 3 or 4 days that I haven't done yoga, but I know that I can go back and do it and feel so much better and pick back up on that routine. And there's practices out there that you can go look at on YouTube. There's classes you can go to. It's just a matter of you being willing to give it a try, being willing to see how it works for you. And that's the thing with all of these practices and techniques that I'm talking to you about. I wanted to dive into anything and everything that I possibly could to find the peace within myself, to feel better within myself and love my life. Because there were many, many times before any of this that I hated my life. I hated myself, and I couldn't stand looking myself in the mirror. Even though I looked pretty and beautiful, it was just a facade. Because deep down inside, I fucking hated myself. And I didn't want to feel like that anymore. I began to realize that little inner child, that little mini Quinn, that little Quinny inside of me was so unhappy and so unloved that it did not want to go on, And before I had my daughter, life was just whatever, it was just whatever. And then my daughter gave me a reason to live. Like, she gave me a reason to keep going, to be a better person, to live a better life, because I did not want her going through the same experiences that I went through as a kid and into adulthood. And so I just want to say, if you have kids or you have people that look up to you or you really care about, like, your health is most important. Like, if you're not taking care of yourself and you're not trying to do all kinds of different things to figure out what works for you, you're going to be unhappy. You're not going to love yourself. And that was one of the things that I wanted to do. I wanted to love myself, because when we're growing up, we're not taught to love ourselves. We're taught to put everybody else before us, and that we're not important, or, tuning into ourselves was a horrible thing. And, people brainwash us to believe that that wasn't right, that we had to give all our time and attention to everyone else and never make time for ourselves. And that was so untrue. That was fucking bullshit. And I was pissed off when I found that out. I was pissed. And so I was like, well, I'm going to change that. I'm going to change that for myself because I do not want to live like that anymore. I don't want to carry this anger around. I don't want to look at myself and be like, oh, you're a fucking ugly bitch. Yeah, that's were some things that I said to myself. And no matter how good I looked on the outside, the inside was in total turmoil. So go experiment with all these different practices, because I'll tell you, you will find the peace. You will release the energy, and you will accept that, yeah, some things happened. Yeah, you experienced trauma, but you have the power to release it. You have the power to heal yourself. And that is what I've been doing by experimenting with all of these different practices. And so I just really encourage you to go and do some of these, because they've saved my life. They've saved me from offing myself. You know, there have been many times where I wanted to take my life, but it was just like, no, I feel like I can do it. There was that little inner me, that God or mini Quinn saying, no, Quinn, you go do this practice, and then you'll feel better. And sure enough, I did. And so I just continue on with these practices. Early on in my healing journey, the highest frequency next to love, because love is the highest frequency, next to love is gratitude. And, starting a gratitude journal, that's one of the practices. Like starting your forgiveness practice and doing a gratitude journal could go hand in hand. And I would write 5 things each day. At the end of my day, I would write 5 things that I was grateful for. And I only had to do 5. I didn't have to do less or more. It was just 5 things. And I would do that every night before I went to bed. I would write down 5 things that I was grateful for that happened to me or that I felt within my day that day. And I got numerous journals of everything I'm grateful for. And then, as the 5 things would come, then another thing would come. As I kept doing it, then another thing would come. Next thing you know, I'm writing pages of what I was grateful for. And it can be as little as waking up that day. It could be as little as the sun shining. It could be as little as, someone smiling at you, or you smiling at someone, or a kind act that you've done, or the food that you were blessed with, or the person who let you in on the highway or something. It could be the smallest, tiniest little thing, and it could be the totally biggest thing. It doesn't matter. All that matters is that you are grateful and you feel it. You feel the gratitude. You feel that you are so grateful for being blessed with another day today, for being blessed to be able to have eyesight to come and watch this video, or have hearing to hear what I'm saying. It's as little as those little things. And then you will just start seeing great blessings after blessings. Because then, for me, I did years of this, years of writing in my journal every single day. And then it just became integrated. Then I just was grateful. I was just grateful. I didn't have to continue practicing being grateful, because it then integrated. I just became grateful. I raised my vibration to gratitude. I'll also include the scale of consciousness that my spiritual mentor has gifted. I will put a link in there to her site that you can go and get this, because you will then see where the different emotions and feelings and perspectives are on a scale, and you can ask yourself something every day of where am I at on this scale? And, you will see once you put it on there, or once you see the scale, where am I at today on this scale? Am I at a 200? Am I at a 100? Am I at a 500? And then you just keep asking yourself, and it's like muscle testing in a way to see what vibration you're at, where you're at, or where you're feeling. And then you can make the intentional decision to change that, to practice gratitude, to be more loving, to be more in acceptance. And so I will put that in the links as well. Let's see what else. There's so many practices. So once I got into the chakras, I did that. A lot of the things I did was sound healing of the chakra frequencies. You go onto YouTube, there's plenty of sound healing. There's sound baths. Sound bowls are tuned to different chakras, to the different chakra frequencies. And so going and starting to listen to that before you go to bed, or when you wake up, or in the middle of the day, or when you feel like you need a recharge, or you feel like you need a clearing. Another one is the 9 Sela Fuego frequencies. That has been a lifesaver for me. My body loves sound and it loves vibration. All of our bodies do. And so getting into sound healing was a really big, huge practice for me, and listening to one every day. When I get out or as I wake up, I'm putting on a 20-minute chakra practice to clear out my chakras and get me started for the day, or doing it at the end of the night so it clears out the energies that I've accumulated over the course of the day by being out and about and being around people or doing whatever it is that I'm doing. You have to understand, we are all energy. And so the more that you open up, the more sensitive you become to energy. But if you're not doing that, you are picking up energies from other people and they're sticking to you. They're latching onto you. The thought that just came was those hanging fly traps that people would have, the sticky fly traps. It's like the fly is somebody else's energy and you're the fly trap, and the fly sticks to it. And it's like, it won't come off until you take it off or something. Not that you would do that on a fly trap, but if you get the analogy, I don't know, maybe. Maybe you do, but it's like everybody has energy, and if people aren't dealing with their energy or they're not working on it, they are just spewing out all this different stuff. And if you're around them, it's sticking to you. So then you're going home and you're reacting in a certain way, or you're having certain thoughts and you're like, this doesn't feel like me. I don't really do this or this and that. Well, you've probably picked up somebody's energy. And if you're not protecting yourself and you're not cleansing and clearing your chakras, then those energies, you take them on as your own when they're really not. And that's what we've done growing up. Is we've taken on the beliefs and the energies and the ideas and the perspectives from other people because, we weren't taught how to think for ourselves, basically. But we took on those energies as if they were our own. And then when you start diving deeper into your healing practice and you start clearing out your energies, you then begin to realize that they weren't your energies to carry in the first place. One of the things that I've realized is a lot of my ancestral history has come down to me, a lot of the things that I was carrying within me was from my ancestors. And it wasn't my responsibility to carry that stuff. And so I've asked them to release that from me. And many of the stuff has. And it's like they've been waiting for me to come to help free them from those energies as well, because they carried it on, that then passed down to generation after generation after generation. And it's like our ancestors are waiting for us to free them from these energies, to free them from these beliefs, free them from all that they've carried that wasn't theirs either. So it's a whole big thing. And, these videos and Get to Know Quinn is just giving you what I've had to do to find peace within myself, to live a peaceful life, to grow my fuse as long as I could possibly grow it, and be able to express myself in a way without blowing up, or to respond to certain things in a calm, peaceful way without blowing up or resulting to anger or resulting to violence, because that's what I was taught. And so all of these practices have just given me the healing that I've needed to bring that peace to my life, because all I wanted was peace. I was just like, I just want to be at peace with all this stuff. I just want to be at peace with my past. I just want to be at peace with the people in my life. I don't want to carry these heavy burdens anymore. So I just continue to dive deep into these spiritual practices, into these energetic practices, because I know now that it all lies in our energy and in our mind and in our thinking. So, whatever thoughts you're thinking is going to cause you to feel something. So whatever those thoughts are, if you're like, I just love my life, or I'm at a peaceful place, you're going to feel the peace. You're going to feel calm. You're going to feel good. But if you're like, oh my God, I hate my life. All this shit happens. I can never get a break. Oh, I was just dealt the wrong hand and blah, blah, blah. Then you're going to feel negative feelings, which then is going to cause you to an action. It's going to cause you to an action. So if you're feeling a peaceful life, it's going to cause you to act in a peaceful way. It's going to cause you to take action towards something that you would absolutely love doing that brings peace or brings happiness. But if you're stuck in the negative feelings and negative emotions, a lot of times that isn't going to cause you to do anything. Or if it does, it might not be the right thing, or it might be not what's not best for you. It's just that your feelings cause an action, and then that action actually causes a result. You're going to get a result either way. So whatever that result is going to be is going to depend on what your thoughts are. So the actions that you take are going to be a result. I mean, even if you don't do anything, if you don't take any action, that's still going to cause a result. You're still going to be unhappy with your life. You're still going to be unhappy with yourself. If you're working a job that you hate or you don't love it anymore, but you're like, I need to stay here for the money because I know if I quit here, I'm not ever going to get paid this amount of money, and I'm going to take a pay cut, and then I'm not going to be able to afford my life or the things that I do because I've worked so hard to get to this place. But you hate your job, and so you get up and you're not excited about going to work. You're not excited about living your life and going and doing this job because you hate it. So it's causing you to feel hatred towards yourself and your job, and maybe the people that you work with, and then you're not taking action on finding something better because your thoughts are telling you, oh, well, you're never gonna find a job that pays you this well, or you're never gonna find a job that's this good, but you hate it and you don't like doing it. So you're gonna continue staying for the benefits, right? You're gonna continue staying for the benefits. Well, benefits suck now, so what if there's no benefits? So then it ain't about the benefits, or your chakras are blocked and you don't feel worthy enough or good enough to go out and start your own business or get a different job or do something that you would actually love or start a side gig or whatever it is. So either you're gonna take action or you're not. But your thoughts dictate everything that you're going to feel, that you're going to do, and that is going to cause a result. So mindset clearing. I did a lot of affirmations. I would record my affirmations